My Saving Light, Author's Notes. Hey guys, it's another Owen fic. Are we even surprised at this point? Anyways, I'm pretty sure the poison is out of my system and I'm not going to die. Yay! Enjoy the fic and please revive this fandom. I awoke from my slumber without being able to feel my arms or legs. I tried to move them, but it didn't work. I looked around to see the same room I had fallen asleep in. Well, at least I hadn't had any vision nightmares, but that still didn't give me an answer for the trouble at hand. "Sparrow," I heard a gravelly voice say in my head. It was a voice I had only heard once. "No, get out of my head!" I tried to yell, but the voice only sounded in my head. It didn't come out of my mouth. The voice of the warden laughed. "Oh, Sparrow, you dared to try and get in my head, so now I will repay you by doing the same. Although this time you won't be able to control your own body, like the things you get into the minds of." "Please! I didn't mean it! I just wanted answers!" I tried to move again, to no avail. "No, little bird, you must learn who's really in charge here. You know what? I have an idea that'll really teach you something. Now to remember where that waystone of yours is." My body stood up out of the bed and nearly collapsed due to what I could only assume was the warden getting used to controlling something a third of its size. The warden walked a little weird for a few moments, but got the hang of it after we made it to the large circular gate. The one I never opened, due to my ability to slide under it most of the time. The warden walked over towards the lever that controlled the door. "Now, to remember how on earth you humans use these things. I haven't seen one been used since those travelers came here and set up all those contraptions." For a moment I wondered what he meant. Had the redstone been set up by people after the city had been constructed? My thoughts were cut off by the loud noise of the gate opening. "Ah, there we go," the warden said, satisfied. I stared at it. The tall stone block with inscriptions of forgotten language on it, and a floating purple eye on the altar-like top. That was the warden's only way out. I had to stop him before he got to it. I pulled back my arms with all my strength, and I felt myself take control for just a moment. Then, just as soon as I got it back, I lost it again. "Careful there, little bird. You might hurt yourself more than you already have. And besides, I'm not going to kill you. Just one of your little friends. I was going to try and kill that little rabbit again who got in here and had the guts to disrespect this beautiful city. My city. You already know that. After all, you watched me kill him the first time. But unfortunately, now he's dead forever, so I'll have to pick someone else." "Anyone else in mind?" he questioned with a grin on my own face. I tried to clear my thoughts. If I didn't think of anyone, he couldn't. "Too late, little bird. I've got my target now. Damn it." He walked up to the waystone and scanned his eyes over the book of magic words that said on top. Each stone had its own word that, if said by another stone, would teleport you to the one you wanted to go to. "Aha! Found it." Then in my own voice, out of my own mouth, said the word, Viator. Scott's house seemed to have grown, with a few additions, including a lighthouse that hurt my eyes, even from a distance. "Oh, Scott," I heard my own voice say. It still felt just as weird the second time. Hopefully I wouldn't be in here long enough for me to get used to it. I saw a dash of light come up in front of me. "Hey, Owen!" Scott's voice arose from light particles. The warden spoke in my voice again. "Hey, Scott, I just came by to say hello, and it looks like you've changed since the last time we talked." "Yeah, I'm a light guy now, so I didn't think I'd survive long enough underground to come visit you. But you're here now, so it doesn't matter." Scott sounded so happy. I wish I could control my body long enough to tell him to kill me, to keep everyone else safe. Everyone would be safer if I was dead. The warden looked over to the small patch of skulk near Scott's house, or at least where it used to be. It was gone now. "You got rid of the skulk," the warden said. Scott nodded. "Yeah, since I'm all about the light now, it didn't fit my vibe. One blast of light was all it took. Here, I'll show you it on a pig." He turned to leave. Wait, only one? If it was that easy, maybe Scott could get rid of my skulk. "Scott, please, hear me. Hit me with one of those light beams. It's taken over." Scott turned back to me with a confused look. "Did you say something?" he asked. "Yes," I yelled, but the voice came out of my mouth said, "Not to you, just to skulk voices. Sometimes they get a little loud." The warden laughed. Laughed! It had the gall to laugh. "But also, I did want to say something about you getting rid of my gift. The one I so graciously provided you with." He sounded pissed. Scott backed up a little. "Owen, put the knife down," he said, terrified. "That's what made me notice the gold enchanted knife in my hand." "Fine. I don't need a knife to kill you anyways." I tried to take control again to stop him from what he was about to do, but I was too late as the warden pounced towards Scott. Scott let out a scream and dodged the attack. Then he must have stood in place because he disappeared from my vision. The warden looked around in anger. Then I heard a person dash behind me. The warden turned just after Scott must have moved, which meant that the warden was unfortunately probably close to him. The warden stopped. I couldn't tell what he was doing for a second. I hoped that he had given up, that he'd go back into the ground and we'd never see the surface again. Then everyone could be safe. That hope was dashed when I heard a thumping sound. the sound of Scott's heartbeat. It sounded further away than I thought Scott could have gotten. The warden looked around the base and stared at where Scott's heartbeat was coming from. His lighthouse. The warden went airborne and landed on the edge of the platform, squinting a little every time. The light made its way around to us. He started sniffing the air for any hint of Scott. After a few moments, he seemed to lock onto something. He walked a few steps, then tried to pounce into Scott's mindscape. "No!" I yelled, extremely loud. Then I felt myself being able to control my body again. But I was crouched on the floor, and Scott was still half on his back and staring at me terrified. "Scott," I said. God, I sounded pitiful. He immediately sat back up and scooted closer to me. "Owen?" he questioned. "I need you to kill me," I said, trying to get my heavy breathing from so much strength of keeping the warden back under control. "What?" He seemed confused and concerned. "Listen." The skulk, a splitting pain entered my head, and I let out a noise of pain. The voices were getting louder. It took over, and I couldn't stop it. I tried to lock it in the vault, but it didn't work. "But how are you going to get out of there?" I stared up at him, now that his face was above mine. "I wasn't going to. Now I need you to kill me by eradicating the skulk with your light. You need to do it soon, because I can't hold him back long." Tears formed in his eyes as he placed a hand on my forehead. Okay, he seemed to accept what was about to happen. Then I felt the worst burning pain I was pretty sure anyone had ever felt. I woke up on a soft bed with the sun in my face. Wait, I woke up? But I was dead. Now that can't be right. This had to be purgatory of some sort. There was no way I was... "You're awake," I heard Scott's voice say from across the room. I looked up and winced from pain while trying to sit up. Scott rushed over and laid me back down. He crouched down to be just about eye level with me. "You'll probably be bedridden for a while, but for now, you're alive, which is more than I thought a few days ago." I could hear the concern still in his voice. I let my hand go from Sparrow's forehead. His head hit the ground with a thump. The pieces of skulk that once infested his skin chipped off in shriveled burn bits onto the wooden platform of the lighthouse. He looked dead. He wasn't moving, and I couldn't see him breathing. I put my hand to his pulse and felt a faint heartbeat. I knew I'd never let out a sigh like that ever again. It felt like a mountain had been lifted off my shoulders. "Wait, how long has it been?" I asked. "About a week," he said. I nearly jumped up from the shock of that long of a time, but Scott had kept his arm on my chest, keeping me down on the bed. "A week!" I yelled. Scott nodded. "Yeah, I didn't think you'd make it. I thought I'd actually lost you forever, like I would if you'd stayed down and died in that vault. Which was a dumb plan, by the way. I'm still mad at you for that. You know, at some point I would have come to check on you down there." "Why? I was mean to you before then, back when the skulks started to take over. I killed Sausage, for goodness sake," I said. Scott let out a giggle. "You really don't know, do you?" I shook my head, confused. Scott responded to the motion by leaning in and placing a soft kiss on my forehead. "I'm sure you'll figure it out eventually." I went speechless from the surprise of the kiss. "Until then, get some more rest."